What is going on with the jobs market? That is what everybody wants to know right now, from the presidential candidates to Jerome Powell to all of us in this economy. Well, today we got some news from the jobs market, and it is pretty good. The unemployment rate went down a little bit from 4.2% to 4.1%, and the US added more jobs than was expected, about 254,000 jobs in the month of September. That is not a ton of jobs, but it was more than expected and shows a pretty good momentum happening. But if we zoom back a little bit, the data coming out of the jobs market is a little confusing right now. So we also recently got data about job openings and hirings and quit rates. And it found that job openings are actually up by quite a bit. There are more than 8 million open jobs right now. That is more than one job for every available worker. At the same time, hiring went down. It's now at its lowest level since 2013. Also, the number of people quitting their jobs is at its lowest level in 4 years. You might remember the Great Resignation. The quits rate, as they call it, was hitting records every month. That has totally reversed course. Right now, workers are just staying put. They are staying in their jobs. And layoffs have also been rising a little bit, although they are still near 20-year lows. So what do we make of all this data and of the job market right now? Overall, the data looks pretty good. For instance, hiring may just need a chance to catch up with job openings, although there has been these increased instances of so-called ghost jobs. Those are jobs that companies post, but then they don't fill them for months and months and months. So we don't know if the job openings will translate to hirings, but they probably will. Also, Jerome Powell just cut interest rates by a pretty significant amount, and that hasn't even really had a chance to trickle through the economy. And once it does, the thought is that should help jobs. So it seems like the momentum is pretty positive, but also there's just a lot of stagnation. There is not a lot of action. People have been calling this moment the big stay because workers are just kind of staying put and companies aren't really making a lot of moves either. I'm sort of thinking of this moment as the great wait. I think workers are waiting to see what happens with the companies, what happens with the economy, what happens with the election before they make any big life decisions. And I think companies are doing the same thing. I think they're waiting to see how the economy shakes out, how interest rates and inflation shake out, how the election shakes out before they take action too. They remember how difficult it was during the peak pandemic when there were 2 job openings for every available worker. They remember how difficult it was to hire too. So I think they're hanging on to workers, whereas maybe at another time they would have been faster to do layoffs in a moment of uncertainty. But they're hanging on to workers. Workers are hanging on to jobs because they also remember what it's like to be in a really terrible job market, like at the very beginning of the pandemic when unemployment spiked to 20%. So I think everybody is hanging on to the status quo, waiting for more information, and after that they'll take action and move forward. The great wait.